friend. Looking for a ticket?
You. I've seen you in the clinic. You run errands for Natasha, right? Your cover? What are you talking about? Let me guess. Natasha wants you to persuade me to go back for a follow-up visit, right? What's the use? I'm terminal. Life will be over before I know it. Of course not. I read it in a book. Every book I read has descriptions that match my symptoms exactly. I can diagnose myself with a dozen incurable diseases before I get halfway through. For people in my situation, a follow-up visit is just a waste of time and money. Not to mention medicine. Mutual aid what now? What are you talking about? What else is there to say? Natasha was seeing me free of charge. She said I could keep a tab running for as long as I liked, then pay it back when I had the opportunity. I guess I'm too proud. You think I need you to tell me? Don't try and persuade me. I've already thought this through. Dr. Vash never charged me anything either. Natasha's great, but Vash was always my number one. Natasha's brother? They both used to practice medicine back in Rivertown. I heard he was a top student from the Overworld Medical Academy. Bellabog's main hospital wanted him. I have no idea what convinced him to set up down here. A kind heart, maybe. What do you mean? Dr. Vash was a people's doctor. He handed out free medicine. He even followed up with detailed questions on how he felt. The underworld is always short on medical resources. They say that Dr. Vash made all his own medicine himself. You think I don't want to? I heard that he passed away. I should keep my voice down. Don't go telling anyone else about this next bit. I heard that Natasha had something to do with Dr. Vash's death. They say she was jealous that her brother had stolen her patients, so she... It's just something people were saying. I don't think Dr. Natasha could do something like that. Forget I said anything. Since Dr. Natasha sent you over specially, I'll do her a favor. I'll go to the clinic for my follow-up a little later. Bye for now.
Avoiding a follow-up visit due to money issues. I should find another patient to talk to.
What was that? Oh, you'll have to be louder. My ears aren't what they used to be. Oh, everything's muffled. Ah! A follow-up visit. Is that what you're asking about? Natasha's a wonderful girl. She always gives me a thorough checkup. But at this age, it's rather a lot to bear. Even if they could cure me. I'm sure I wouldn't be around for long. I don't want to waste anyone's time. Not for youngsters like yourself. When you get to my time of life, good health is a bit of a luxury, I'm afraid. My husband had the same illness as me, but he never touched the medicine. He wanted to make sure I had enough. Then, one day, he said he needed to take care of some things at the mine. He never came back. He was forever saying he wanted to go before I did. Ah, selfish old fool. I miss him. Now that he's gone, who cares how long I stick around? You're not wrong, I suppose. That girl certainly spares me no effort. But I always feel like I'm a burden to her. Okay, you win. It's off for another follow-up visit with Dr. Natasha, I suppose. Did you want to say something else? My ears are terrible. Virtual? All right, I heard you. Do you have to shout? No, I've never heard of any Mutual Aid Society.
Avoiding a follow-up visit because of her husband.
I see Gertie! But who's that lying on the ground? Quick, let's head over.
Why haven't I gone for my follow-up visit? Are you a patient too, or did Dr. Natasha send you over? Who else would care about people like me? I don't need Dr. Natasha's help now. Tell her to save her worries and medicine for other people. A dispute? No. She's the only kind-hearted doctor in the underworld. I just don't really approve of her methods, that's all. Too idealistic and no real efficacy. She tries to save everyone, which means she can't save anyone. In the end, it's the patients who suffer, and she just tires herself out. Miners like me don't have time for lengthy treatments. If I can't take something and get right back to work, I may as well lie down and wait for death to come knocking. Did you, know Dr. Vash? His wonder medicine is cheap, and the results are immediate. You just need to, be willing to, take a little risk. Dr. Vash's medicine is different. Lots of people make a full recovery after taking it, but some get worse. And the unlucky ones check out early. Even knowing the risk, most people fight tooth and nail to get hold of the medicine. You know why? You're smarter than you look. When life forces you to the edge, you'll throw yourself at any opportunity, even if it means risking it all. For people like us, a slow and torturous treatment is the same as a death sentence. If it's between that and a quick result, we'll take the latter. Forget it. Why am I telling you all this? Dr. Vash is dead anyway. What? Now you're interested in the wonder medicine? Listen up. The Complex Illness Mutual Aid Society is still selling that medicine. I can tell you where they trade, but there's a rule. You must not tell any of this to Dr. Natasha. You hear? If you break the rule, you'll face the consequences. Here, take this. It's the address. A final warning. Do not reveal this information to Natasha.
I know where to find the wonder medicine. What should I do next? That patient didn't want me to tell Natasha about this. Should I listen to him?
Are you hurt? Let me take a look.
So the Mutual Aid Society found Vash's research results, and now they're selling this so-called wonder medicine to patients? Any organization doing something like this is interested in more than just mutual aid. I'm not surprised. They'll know that I'm completely against them using this wonder. What Vash left behind is nothing more than reagents and experimental byproducts. The word medicine doesn't apply here. I warned the patients countless times, but seems like they had their heads in the sand all along. No wonder they kept the Mutual Aid Society a secret from me. Thank you. Those patients weren't exactly singing my praises. Thank you for having faith in me. If you're curious about Vash's wonder medicine, you should ask some of the patients in the clinic. See what they have to say about the effects.
Some people say that Dr. Vash was a saint who came from the overworld to help those in need. I don't buy it. People's doctor, that's just what people who've bought into the myth like to say. Vash used to distribute free medicine all the time, but he couldn't have cared less about the people taking the medicine. The hard truth is that we were just his test subjects. It didn't matter if the medicine worked or not. What mattered was having a constant stream of willing lab rats. Of course, I can't control what anyone else thinks. That's just how I see it.
The medicine Vash left behind? That stuff... Can you even call it medicine? I know Dr. Natasha's here, but I have to tell it like it is. Vash had zero medical ethics. He didn't deserve the title doctor. He may have had the capability, but he didn't use it to help anyone. Whenever I went to see him, he never even asked about my illness. He just prescribed me his so-called wonder medicine. If it were you, would you have taken that medicine?
Are you hurt? Let me take a look.
I still haven't worked out how to convey it to you. The issues surrounding Vash. My relationship with him. The things he's done in the underworld. It's a long story. I'm guessing you've heard a lot of different opinions on Vash. What do you make of him? I want you to go and visit another patient, a victim of the wonder medicine. I want you to see the real consequences of abusing that medicine. Once you've understood her situation, come back and tell me what you think. After that, I want to ask for your help again.
Who are you? Who? Where's my husband? And where's my child? Where are they? You know where they are, right? You don't know. They don't know. Nobody knows. Where? Where did they go?
Come over here, child. It's best to leave that poor lady in peace. Let me explain. That poor lady. Both her husband and child became ill and passed away. Oh, not terribly serious, but they needed to get treatment every now and then, which did impact their livelihood. In order to try and rid themselves of the ailment once and for all, they bought some kind of wonder medicine. Who would have thought their condition would deteriorate so rapidly after they began using it? The two began to suffer terribly, such that death then became a blessing. It wasn't long before they departed this world, one after the other. From that moment on, she became as you see her now. If Dr. Natasha hadn't taken her under her wing, well, it doesn't bear thinking about. And yet, what more could have been done? They were warned about the medicine. They were told about the risks. And they chose to roll the dice. Talking about it tires me out. At least my husband and I are able to help her where we can. I just hope that one day she can lead a normal life again.
Keep at it.
I wish you all a journey that is free of illness.
Did you speak to her? By the look on your face, I'm assuming you've come to understand the wonder medicine all too well. Be it Vash or the Mutual Aid Society, forces like that can take full advantage of the typical underworld state of mind. Let me tell you a story. There was once a brilliant overworld doctor with unmatched pharmaceutical skill. The doctor was set on developing a medicine that would steel the human body against the cold. He named his research project Blizzard Immunity. But his research met with obstruction time and time again, the biggest factor being a lack of test subjects. Tampering with the human immune system carries huge risk, and nobody in the overworld was willing to submit themselves to such experiments. As such, the doctor got in touch with his sister in the underworld, claiming that he wanted to support the medical effort below ground. Naturally, his sister was overjoyed. After all, as far as medicine was concerned, her brother had always been the standard she'd strived to attain. She brought her brother underground and entrusted him with her clinic and laboratory. I think you know what comes next. Issuing free medicine to the needy was just Vash's way of conducting experiments on his test subjects. On some level, his reagents were able to alleviate the patient's suffering, but nothing more. They would forget their pain for a while and neglect their regular treatment plans. The result? Patients with mild illness would attribute their recovery to the so-called wonder medicine, while patients with serious illness would quickly deteriorate, and sometimes die. I cannot accept that their fate was simply the result of misfortune or risk. No true doctor would accept that. That's why I want you to help me recover all the wonder medicine. Are you willing to take on this assignment? Thank you. This will be hard for the people that have come to rely on the wonder medicine. But it's up to us to remove this false hope. You mustn't hesitate. Recover every last reagent that Vash left behind. I'll take responsibility for the consequences. Don't worry about that. Go. I'll be waiting for the good news.
Stop right there. No one's allowed up ahead. Oh, playing the hero, are we? Is this a stick-up? Wait a minute, you're that clinic woman's lackey, aren't you? Did you think the Mutual Aid Society didn't have its own intel? She's after our medicine and sent you here to smash the place, right? Men, look lively and send this idiot packing already.
I've no interest in conflict. Let's make it quick.
Who will it be?
Reach the end of the story in your own way.
Found your weakness.
Fighting is meaningless.
The stars will always remember us.
Well, look who we have here. Your reputation precedes you, outsider. I didn't take you for a bandit and a thief. You listen here. I'm the president of the Complex Illness Mutual Aid Society. The medicine we hold here is lifeblood for many of our members. Are you sure? Those poor patients. Along comes a life-saving wonder medicine only to be snatched away by a shameless bandit like you. The underworld is full of sickness. What would happen if we left it all to that clinic to treat? My mutual aid society has relieved that doctor of patients at the end of the road. Shouldn't she be thanking me? Seems like you are quite bent on dismantling our operations, aren't you? Fine. Seeing as you came all this way, it'd be rude not to give you the opportunity. Men, seize the medicine thief.
I've no interest in conflict. This is our chance. The truth of life and death, where the sanctuary is but a vision. Break!
Everything is Oh, stars, give these trailblazers your blessing. Who will it be? My turn.
Blast it! What did we ever do to you? Why are you taking away our moneymaker?
Moneymaker? So you admit it then? You're not in this to save lives, you're in it to get rich.
What are you doing here? Oh, as if we didn't have enough trouble already.
Selling fake medicine with false kindness. You should have expected trouble to find you sooner or later. I have a responsibility to protect the well-being of my patients. Or to put it another way, I must eradicate any and all threats to them.
You can't save everyone. The underworld is teeming with sickness. How could you possibly pull it off?
You're right. I can't save everyone alone. But if I must, I would sacrifice food and sleep to treat them. The debt that Vash owes to the underworld rests with me. All I can do is help everyone to the best of my ability. To the very end.
So stubborn. In that sense, you're no different from your crazy brother.
I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you. Your actions today have saved many underworld families. I'll find a way to dispose of Vash's leftover reagents. Next time the Mutual Aid Society wants to whip up a quack cure, they'll be out of luck. Let's go back to town. I still owe those patients an explanation.
This will strengthen our position.
Found your weakness.
Too late to repent. Fighting is meaningless. Let's go.
The stars will always remember us. Can you see the stars from here, too?
Uh-oh. It looks like the patients have surrounded Natasha. Let's hear what they're saying.
What are you saying, Doctor? The wonder medicine is out of supply?
Correct. That medicine is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Wildfire has cut off the supply chain. Your ailments need rational, scientific treatment. Relying on pseudo-medicines will only worsen your condition.
Rational and scientific, huh? The way I see it, you're just jealous you lost your patients.
How dare you speak to Dr. Natasha like that? Where are your manners?
Ma'am, please think for a moment. How can you still be siding with her? That wonder medicine was working fine for us, and now it's gone because she wants it to be? How can she?
I understand your anger, but as your doctor, I ask you to trust my judgment. I will find a way to access more medical resources and help you through your struggles. If I must, I'll get help from the surface.
The surface. I almost forgot that you were an overworld big shot.
Have some respect for Dr. Natasha.
If it's respect she wants, she better find a replacement for the wonder medicine fast. If not, I'll tell everyone about how she set up Dr. Vash. I'm out of here.
I wish you all a journey that is... Oh, you're here. I apologize. That must have made for uncomfortable viewing. I'm okay. If I were in his shoes, I may well have had the same reaction. Now I need to focus on treating the patients and dispelling their doubts. Let's leave it for now. I'll feel a lot better once I've gotten rid of this mess that Vash left us. Now's as good a time as any to tell you Vash's whole story. If there's anything you want to know, don't hesitate to ask. No, but I used to think we were so close that we may as well have been. I, actually grew up in the orphanage. It wasn't until I was adopted by an overworld family that life changed for me. My adoptive mother always saw me as her own flesh and blood. And Vash loved me like a sister. That is, while we were still young. My adoptive parents belonged to a prominent medical family. As kids, we were exposed to all kinds of medical texts. When we were older, both of us got straight into Belobog's medical school. We were on a path into the medical profession. He was gentle and introverted. But when it came to work, he could be absurdly obsessive. Like a completely different person. Whenever I made a mistake in an experiment, he'd bite my head off. And then a while later, he'd apologize and comfort me. He was conflicted in that way. I didn't know he had leftover reagents in Rivet Town. I was shocked when you told me. If you fail to make a clean break with the past creeps up on you. That's a long story. Ever since he was little, Vash had always wanted to develop a medicine called blizzard immunity. He saw the human body's vulnerability to cold as a disease, and wanted to cure it so that humanity could survive the eternal freeze. If he succeeded, people would be able to leave Belobog and rebuild their homes in the snow plains. To be honest, I never understood how he'd achieve that blizzard immunity. But I do admire that vision and perseverance. I always chose to believe him, ever since I was a kid. I knew his research in the overworld wasn't going well. I used to write to him and ask him to come down and stay with the kids in the orphanage for a while. I thought it might help take his mind off his research. But I was too young to know what long-term frustration could do to a person. It changed him in a terrible way. During his stay in the underworld, he met patients affected by fragmentum corrosion with mild symptoms. Compared with non-patients, their bodies reacted differently to hot and cold. He began to simulate mild fragmentum corrosion, thinking that it could lead to breakthroughs in developing blizzard immunity. Those reagents of his aren't cure-alls for critical illness. That doesn't exist. Vash made the reagents to mitigate the suffering of his patients in the short term. A convenient way for him to observe changes in his test subjects. But behind my back, he had been doling out the reagents to residents who were kept in the dark. When it finally struck me that something was wrong, his terrible research had already turned him into a madman. Indeed. And it all happened under my nose. How ridiculous. My judgment was clouded by trust in a loved one. When his experiments were exposed, I spent a long time with Oleg discussing how to handle the aftermath. This was shortly before the underworld was sealed off. There were hardly any Silvermane guards remaining. We spent ages trying to find a way to handle Vash. In the end, Oleg suggested that we banish him and permanently deny him access to the underworld. Had his victims found out the truth, Vash would have been torn to pieces by furious underworlders. I was young and weak at the time. Oleg must have worried about how I'd react to such a scenario, or he wouldn't have suggested banishment. Looking back, it wasn't. He deserved much worse. Oleg and I took Vash to the overworld. He made his final request to us. To take him outside the city to the snow plains he'd always wanted to conquer. His figure gradually disappeared into the snow curtain. I've been telling myself that Vash is dead ever since. Forgive me. I'm not good at telling stories. Vash was a terrible brother and a worse doctor. That's all you need to know. Let's call it a day. Thank you for cleaning up the mess my brother left behind. Here, for your trouble.
I wish you all a journey that is
Outsiders. Friends of Clara.
How did you know that was Perkins?
Thank you for rescuing Clara.
Seems like Perkins picked up a stammer.
Its language module must have malfunctioned. Can you take us to Clara? Outsiders are friends of Clara. Follow me.
You have visitors, Clara.
Oh, it's the variables.
There was a huge shaking just now coming up through the ground. Mr. Svarog said it must have been...
Recalculating. Conclusion. Engine of creation. 97.66% probability. The engine of creation was an immense construction machine created by the architects. It was not built to fight.
Well, whatever. We won. Thanks to that giant robot, we were finally able to take care of the Stellaron. And Branya made a promise. The underworld and the overworld will soon be reunited. Which means that you, Svarog, you won't have to worry about preserving the underworld for the time being.
March, everyone, thank you so much. I wasn't sure you guys would be able to do it, but now... Mr. Svarog, what do you say? You guys said you were travelers from other worlds, right? I want to be just like you. One day, I'm gonna go traveling to faraway places and make new friends.
Calculation result. Update. Mission number 0001. Preserve the underworld. Complete.
That's our Branya! Quick as a flash!
She certainly moves a lot faster than some people I know.
If you haven't got anything nice to say right now, zip it!
The thief has stolen parts again? How am I going to track down this crook? Oh, there have been a few unusual thefts in the dwelling over the past few days. The vagrants say that the parts they worked so hard to obtain have completely vanished. They're worried that there's a thief in the dwelling. Despite our investigations, no one has been able to track down the thief. What's even stranger is that the thief appears to be only interested in stealing parts and doesn't care about other valuable items. The vagrants had no choice but to ask Mr. Svarog to look into it, but he still hasn't found anything. I investigated the matter myself, but I came up empty-handed. Jeez. I'm baffled. What a strange thief. Are you also here to look into this case? Perhaps if we work together, we can uncover some clues that I missed. Oh, I heard the vagrants on patrol last night ran across the thief again, but I haven't had time to look into it. Should we go ask them? You sound so cool. You're like one of the characters from Mr. Svarog's movies. Aren't they called detectives? Seeing you so fired up has me excited too. Now, let's get started. Sir, how are you? I heard you saw the thief who stole the parts last night. Can you tell us what happened?
Ah! Oh, Clara, it's you. I thought it was... You scared the living daylights out of me. I did see the thief last night, but who is this person next to you? Trailblazer? Oh, I know. You're the outsider who's made a name for themselves around town, right? Oh, wow. I feel way better knowing that a big shot like you is here to catch the thief. Hold on. I'll explain what happened last night. Just let me gather my thoughts first. Okay. So, last night, I was on patrol when I bumped into the thief stealing the parts. Then I just... Goodness, I was so scared. It was dreadful. I was cold and hungry while on patrol last night, so I decided to return to the dwelling and heat up some leftover canned food for a snack. But when I entered the tent, the thief's silhouette scurried across my vision. I couldn't see the thief's face because the tent was so dark, but I could tell he wasn't a nice guy. Because when he turned to flee, he swung a knife right across my face. In that moment, I really thought I was going to die. I could feel the blades chill on my cheeks and smell its rusty scent. The weapon that fella had was definitely a metal one. That's the only thing I'm certain of. Also, I saw the outline of him in the dark. The fella's head was absolutely square! Yes, you heard me, square! Can you believe that? Someone with a square head? It was truly terrifying!
It sounds bizarre, but it could be a clue. I'll jot it down. Sir, please take a deep breath. So, the thief was armed with a metal weapon and had a, square head. Correct?
Yes! That's correct!
I'm struggling to make sense of these clues. Do you have any thoughts?
How can you just accuse me like that? I was terrified! How could I be an accomplice?
I'm sorry. He was just joking. Please don't take him seriously.
Ah, yes! I remember something! While the culprit was hurrying to escape, he knocked something over. He may have left some clues or something.
This is a crucial clue. Let's go investigate the crime scene together.
I think he ran that way. No one has touched the crime scene, so any traces he left behind should still be there. Please, catch the thief for us.
Take a look at these marks. These are very suspicious. Could they have been left by the culprit? They point in that direction. Let's go take a look. And look at these! How unusual. They don't appear to have been left by a human. The tracks stop here. I guess we'll have to look around for other clues. This is where the mechanical waste is disposed of, though. Could it be? Oh, okay. I'll follow you. Let's split up. Wait, what's that noise?
Reach the end of the story in your own way.
It's a tiny robot? Is it searching for something? But I don't remember Mr. Svarog issuing an order like this recently. It looks like it's carrying the vagrant's missing part and those tracks and metal scratches we noticed earlier. It appears we're thinking the same thing. This small robot doesn't appear to be a Belobog creation. It looks like it's been welded together from random scrap metal materials. Oh, it appears to have a small mechanical arm. It's...
Human. Injured. No. Hurt. Please don't.
I don't understand what it's saying, but it doesn't appear to be trying to flee or attack us. It appears to be trying to say something. Human, please, don't hurt. Is it trying to say, please don't hurt me, humans?
Human. Parts. Rivet. Need. Repair. Need. Town. Parts. Need. need, hurt, don't. It appears to have a malfunction, but I think I can understand it. It seems that it needs these parts, and it's begging us not to hurt it. I've never seen a robot with this kind of malfunction before. What happened to it? Although the small robot appears to want to communicate, its speech is all scrambled. Perhaps there's an issue with its language module. This little guy probably can't understand what we're saying either.
Run! Escape! Open! Fire! Workshop! Chase! Don't!
It's running away! No, we can't let it escape. It still has the Vagrant's parts. What should we do? We gotta stop it. But please don't be too rough on it. I'll figure out a way to repair it later.
Hurt. Pain. No. Hurt. Don't. Pain. Suffer. Sorry. Parts. Sorry. Sorry. Hurt. Suffer. Pain. No. Pain. Sorry. So free. Pain. Hurt. Sorry. Suffer. Sorry. Sorry. Pain. Sorry. Ouch. Pain. Sorry.
Why?
Sorry. Pain. Suffer. Sorry.
It seems to have stopped working. Was it begging for mercy? I'm not sure what happened either. I feel bad about this. I guess we should return this little fella and the parts. I think I can... I'll repair it. And if I can't, I'll ask Mr. Svarog for help. He always knows what to do.
Initiating assessment of the robot's condition. Please wait, Clara.
While Mr. Svarog is assessing this little fella, let's give it a quick checkup ourselves. This paint job and these custom parts, and the way the parts are attached, it's all quite strange. But one thing is for certain, this little fella is not under remote control. He's operating entirely of his own accord. Its design is, well, unique. I've never seen a robot with a design like this before. It really seems like something that was thrown together rather quickly. Its creator most likely didn't consider whether the system would function properly or not. Is it a failed robot pet creation that has been abandoned? But if it's a pet, then why would it gather parts itself? I've heard that some vagrants in the dwelling keep the little robots they find as pets. Some vagrants also make modifications to their pets, which they call pet upgrades. Pets like that are pretty rare, but some of the folks who have them have formed a small community to share ideas. Some are interested in nurturing robots. Others force them into battle. If my memory serves me right, the parts this little fella stole were originally designed for that kind of pet upgrade. That's not the word I'd use. I guess most people only see robots as tools. I'll try not to hold it against you. I'm sorry. I just suddenly felt some strong emotions. Let's get back to work on repairing the small robot. This jack's placement is odd. The chip is buried deep inside. If you don't look closely enough, you won't even find it.
Assessment of the robot's condition is complete. The shell damage is estimated to be 98.2%. The assessment concludes that a total recovery is impossible. It is recommended that the robot's external shell be removed and replaced, while keeping the outer circuitry and related transmission devices.
You can always rely on Mr. Svarog to come up with a brilliant idea. So, I guess we'll have to go find a new robot shell to fix it, right? I'm not sure if anyone sells this kind of thing. However, there must be some robot shells lying around the machine graveyard. Everyone calls it a graveyard, but there are actually lots of useful parts buried there. I'm gonna return the parts to the vagrants first. Then I'll check on the little fella. Can I trust you to find a shell in the machine graveyard, big brother? Really? You could have what it takes to be a prospector. Then, I'll entrust this task to you, big. Look for Toby at the front entrance. His appearance is crude, but he's the robot most familiar with the machine graveyard. Just follow Toby.